This is very interesting. Monster Boy, which I kind of have, the more I play that game, the more I like it. In my initial first impressions, I said that I really wasn't enjoying the game, and I forced myself to sit down and play more of it because everybody had said how great it is. And the more time I spend in that world, the more I really think that it can be a great game. So far, I've got two of the characters unlocked, the pig and the snake, and there's a whole bunch more. I can eventually unlock the human again. There's a frog, a lion, a dragon, and that's a lot of different gameplay. And just the ability to switch between the pig and the snake has increased the fun level for me quite a bit. So my first impressions were not so great. Now I'm starting to change my tune, and it seems like the more I play it, the more I enjoy it. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. The thing that I wanted to talk about is how well Monster Boy is doing on the Nintendo Switch. This is Monster Boy in the Cursed Kingdom. There are other Monster Boy games, but this is really interesting news. Monster Boy sold 8 times more on the Switch than on the PS4 and Xbox One combined. That is a pretty crazy stat. That is a really, really crazy stat. And I find that really, really hard to believe. This comes from a tweet from FDG Entertainment. They said, Nintendo Switch continues to amaze us. Not only does it bring so much joy with its original games, it also is the most profitable console business ever for us. It's another universe in regards to sales numbers. Monster Boy game ratio is 8-1 Nintendo Switch versus everything else. Now, there's a couple different ways you can do that or parse that statement. You can look at that statement and say that Nintendo Switch sold 8-1 versus the PS4, and it also sold 8-1 versus the Xbox. Or you can parse that statement to say that it sold 8-1 versus the Xbox and PS4 combined. And I really don't know which one they meant. But most people are saying the combined thing, and that might just be because it's a better headline. So I don't know, but it's a very interesting thing because the Nintendo Switch has been out for 2 years now, two years and some change. And it has sold quite a few systems, but it hasn't matched the PS4. It hasn't matched the Xbox One. Its pace is better than both of those systems. It has sold more in the same amount of time than both of those systems. But both of those systems had quite a head start as far as sales go. And the longer that a console is on the market, the lower its price gets, and the more likely it is that people are going to pick it up. So the fact that with as many PS4s and Xbox Ones as there are out there, it seems like the attach rate to Nintendo Switch is much higher. And I think this goes back to when graphics are good enough. And the Switch certainly has graphics that I think most people would agree are good enough. Yes, the Xbox One and the PS4 can push more polygons, can use higher resolutions, can get more frames per second out of stuff because they have more powerful chips in them and more RAM in them. But when you get to a certain point and the graphics are good enough, and I talked about this last episode a little bit, then you start working on how else can we differentiate. And Nintendo has differentiated by making the system portable that you can take with you. And I think that is really, really resonating with people. Like, people are looking at this and they're saying, Monster Boy on the Nintendo Switch is not going to look any worse than it does on the PS4 or Xbox One. And with the Switch, I have the option to take it with me, and I can play it on the TV. I can do both. So why would anybody buy it on these other platforms unless they didn't have the option? Maybe they only have a PS4 or Xbox One. And what this continues to kind of reinforce to me is this idea that if you have multiple consoles, most of the time, if a game is on multiple platforms, I feel like people are much more likely to buy the Nintendo Switch version because it gives you the option to take it with you, and the graphics are good enough. Now, that doesn't work for everything because, if you were to ask me, Bill, should I pick up Doom on the PS4 or the Nintendo Switch? I would say go pick it up on the PS4. The game is a much better version on the PS4. And playing the Nintendo Switch on the go is awesome, but not for first-person shooters because the controller, the right stick on the Nintendo Switch when you're in portable mode, it's just not great for first-person shooters. Its position isn't awesome. It's got a really, really short throw. It's just not the best. Plus, when you're on the PS4, it's going to look better. It's going to look like a much better game. You're going to get a higher frame rate. The resolution's going to be more stable. The game will look nicer. And that game is yes, it's about fantastic gameplay, amazing music, but it's also about graphics. Like, that game is gorgeous. They nailed it. And I'm sure that I'm sure that I would say the same about Wolfenstein 2, which just came out on the Nintendo Switch. I would recommend that kind of game should be picked up on, maybe even a PC. M. Hastrup in chat is pointing out that it would be best on the PC. So maybe you should pick it up on the PC. That's where I played Doom, is on the PC. But I was really comparing consoles. But anyway, shiny things distracting me. I would recommend you probably play Wolfenstein on the PS4. But for most things, like, I ended up picking up Dragon Quest XI for the PS4 only because it was on sale. I would prefer to play that game on the Switch, but it was for $35, and I know that the Switch version is going to be $60. So I said, I'm going to get the $35 version. It's not always going to be the best choice to play it on the Switch, but more often than not, I feel like it is. And that's something that Nintendo didn't stumble into. This is something that was very purposeful and designed that way. And, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Only Nintendo would take a risk like this when it would be much less risky and easier for them to build a system that is just like the Xbox One, just like the PS4, and just played everything as well. They took a risk to make it a portable system, and the attach rate for a lot of games, because Monster Boy is not the only one that is trending like this. The attach rate of the third-party games on the Nintendo Switch is showing everybody that Nintendo did the right thing. And hopefully they just continue to do the right thing.